Hello, my name is Misha and I'm a photographer and videographer, and in today's video I'm going to go over some of the most frequently asked questions we get from couples that are shopping around for a photographer and videographer for their wedding date. First question is, what programs do you use for editing? If we are doing photography editing, we use Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop. This currently is the industry standard when it comes to photo editing. These programs allow us to manipulate the photo pretty much any way we want. We do our absolute best to capture great photos in camera, but regardless, all images taken will go through our editing process so that each photo you receive from us looks beautiful and as artistic as possible. When it comes to video editing, we use Adobe Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro. The wedding video that we put together for you will go through many stages of editing, such as color grading, sound correction, in order to look cinematic and close to an actual movie-like production. Back in the day, couples would have a family member with a camcorder to record the wedding video, but now with all the latest gear, we can produce a video for your wedding that has amazing production quality and something that you can enjoy for many years to come. Next question is, what is your style of photography? This is a very popular question I get, and I don't think any of our photographers on our team have a particular style. Each wedding is unique and different, and each wedding will have its own unique color palette. The editing style that we use for one particular wedding might not necessarily look good for another wedding, so it's important for your photographer to be creative enough to adapt and understand what styles of editing will complement your wedding day the best. Next question is, what camera gear do you use? All camera manufacturers are relatively similar in their performance. Some studios primarily shoot with Canon, Fujifilm, or Sony. There really is no major difference in my opinion. The most important thing is for a photographer or videographer is to use the right lens for the right type of scenario and to know good composition, good editing, and know how to lead and pose couples. As for me personally, I use the Nikon Z series cameras. However, there are no major advantages to different camera brands in my opinion. A $3,000 Nikon camera and a $3,000 Canon camera will have very similar performance. Next question is, why do photographers need so many lenses? The reason why photographers will bring lots of lenses is because each lens is designed for a specific purpose. When we arrive in the morning to take some shots of the bride and groom getting ready, we may use a 35mm or 50mm prime lens, but for the ring shots, we'll use a 105mm lens because it's designed to take extremely detailed photos. Prime lenses are much better at capturing images and video in low light settings, and they create a beautiful blurry background while keeping the subject in focus. This helps to make the image look more artistic and beautiful. Prime lenses come in handy, especially in specific environments where we may not have the best looking background and we want to blur it out. However, in cases where the people and the background look stunning, prime lenses allow us to control the amount of focus we want. We can adjust to show more or less of the background depending on the environment that we are in. When it comes to the wedding ceremony, we use a 28 to 75mm lens, which allow us to be further away from the bride and groom and the guests. But we can still zoom in and create artistic looking images. Our second photographer will usually be on a 70 to 200mm lens. This lens is able to zoom in from a farther distance and is more suitable for a second photographer, so they are not in the way of a primary photographer. As for the wedding videographer, they will usually use a 24 to 70mm lens or a 35mm lens. Usually the videographer needs to be closer to the bride and groom, so these focal lengths are the most popular for wedding video work. Next question is, do you have backup equipment? Each photographer or videographer on our team has one backup camera in case the main camera malfunctions on the day of your wedding. Having backup equipment is expensive but also necessary. Each camera has 2 memory card slots, so that after the wedding, if one of the memory cards malfunctions, we have a secondary backup memory card to help save the day. Typically, cameras that have 2 memory card slots are more expensive, but it's a great insurance policy to have a special occasion like this. Next question is, why is wedding photography so expensive? The reason why wedding photography is so expensive is due to a number of different factors. Wedding photography and videography, like any other profession, requires a lot of education and training. You also need to know how to use a lot of complicated software to edit all these photos. and you need really expensive equipment and backup equipment as well to execute on the job. On average, each camera can cost anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000, and each person has to have at least 2 of them in case one fails. Also, each lens costs anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000, and a photographer will typically have around 4 to 5 lenses in their kit. If you decide to have 2 photographers and 2 videographers for your wedding day, it's even more expensive to give all the staff members enough gear to properly equip them for your wedding day. The cost and equipment will range closer to $30,000 to $40,000 or more. The next question is, when do you recommend starting photography coverage? Typically, coverage starts in the morning. Photographers and videographers will either show up at the bride's house or the groom's house, depending on logistics and the package that you select. We normally start taking detailed shots and then we take pictures of the bride towards the end of the hair and makeup stage. This is not something you should worry about now, but maybe a few days before your wedding day. Just let us know the exact time to arrive so that we have enough time to take the getting ready shots for both the bride and the groom, along with detailed shots of your rings, dress, shoes, jewelry, and more. For wedding photographers and videographers, our work typically ends around 10 o'clock at night, depending on the package you choose. Typically after 10 o'clock, we really don't have any more content to capture. All the major events of the day will have been completed by then. The next question is, can we give you a list of shots that we want? From the beginning of the day to the end of the day, we will be documenting the day, and we are pretty much capturing everything that happens on the day of your wedding. But if you want specific details you want captured, let us know. But regardless, it's our job to capture all the details of your wedding day, so this is not something you need to worry about. All you need to do is enjoy your wedding day and leave everything for us to handle for you. The next question is, how will we receive our photos and video? We will have everything ready for you on our cloud storage, and you can access the files from anywhere around the world. And if you like, we can also provide your files on an external hard drive as well. Next question is, how many photos should we expect? From the beginning of the day to the end of the day, we usually take anywhere from 1,000 to 4,000 photos, depending on a number of different factors like how many details we have for your wedding day, the number of people involved, the amount of flowers and decor you choose for your wedding day, and of course the overall duration of your wedding day. When it comes time for us to edit, we typically go through all of the images and choose the very best images that we know you and your guests will love, and we start the editing process. And we usually typically deliver up to 400 photos, depending on how much content we have for the day. All of your images will be uploaded to an online password protected gallery, which you can use to download all of your images and video, or share the link with your friends and vendors as well. If you would like to have all the raw images and raw video footage as well, you are more than welcome to have them. Next question is, how do we go about printing our images? We don't do printing on our own, but we have several companies that we can recommend for you. We will give you all the images in high resolution, and all you have to do is provide the images to a printing company and they will be able to help you have them printed. We already have a list of companies that we can recommend to you just to make the process of finding a printing company much faster. Next question is, will our photos be in color, black and white, or a mix? Majority of your photos will be in full color. However, during the editing process, we usually notice that some of the images will look good in black and white. In that scenario, we provide you with both versions so you can decide which one you want to keep in your final gallery. The next question is, are engagement photos included in your packages? Engagement shoots are included in most of our packages. We highly recommend you to have an engagement shoot because this is a great way for us to meet in person, spend some time together and do some photography together so that on your wedding day you will feel much more comfortable around me as your photographer. This is also a great opportunity for you to practice being on camera so that on the day of your wedding you and your fiance are much more comfortable. This is something we will get into more detail during the consultation phase, but overall, there are a lot of great benefits to having an engagement shoot. The next question is, how far in advance do I need to book my wedding? We typically do around 80 to 100 weddings per year, so it's best to reach out to us as soon as you secure your wedding date. The next question is, can you handle destination weddings? Absolutely, we are more than happy to travel to capture your wedding day. It's best to reach out to us well in advance so that we can discuss logistics. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us using the contact form on our website.